We're gonna unbox my life from these old videos that were 12 years old, where we're looking at my amplifier collection, which is too big to pull out here, but we did videotape at one time. And also I'm unboxing my friend, because he's something else, a very special person in my life, and he's made me the drummer I probably am.
Holy grail.
He's something to behold as a musician. His knowledge in that was imparted to me. That's how I could run the amplifier company High Watt without his insight. And he gleaned his insight, which should be told, by continually scraping by back in the day in Moss Park government housing. And then he would get a bit of money here and there. He'd buy an amp, and then he'd have to put it to Hawk, and we'd go to Richmond's Trading Post, which is long defunct from the pawn shop district, and then we'd go back and either get it or he'd sell it and lose it. So I got to see him buy and use almost every piece of new and used equipment that a bass player or guitar player could actually own, which gave me an experience I don't think many people would actually have, because I got to see it live as we would desperately trying to find gear for him to play, or go get it out of Hawk to go play a gig, because he was so good. He got the gigs and I just followed along. I was the guy with the vehicle. I was the guy with the license. I was the guy that had equipment even when he didn't. Therefore, I had to go pick him up, and all he had to do was just get in the vehicle. So this was our relationship, and ultimately it blossomed into the fact that I could now understand gear, and ultimately at the end of it all, many decades later, run high watt amplification out of England, because I'd heard and seen most anything. Though I can only play maybe 3 chords. When I worked for the company, it was very funny, because people would say, okay, do you want to give it a go? And I'd say, no, we better get a guitar player in here. I'm a drummer. But there was always good precedent, they joked in England, because Jim Marshall, who ran Marshall Amplification, probably the biggest amplifier company that exists in rock and roll, was a drummer. Go figure. Jimi Hendrix Flying V into a Sound City 200 Plus through a Marshall 4x12. The Marshall 4x12 has greenbacks in it, I believe, and if I recall correctly, that Flying V was a reissue by Gibson that was released the new millennia, and the Sound City 200 head, I'm not sure if that was made by Dave Reeves of High Watt at the time, because Sound Cities originally were made by Dave Reeves, and then they went off on their own when Dave Reeves started High Watt. So let's just listen to this. There's a kind of a horrible hum. I should have had a filter on, but anyway.
Okay, now we've got a Sound City 200 Plus.
Great camera work, eh?
Into a Marshall.
So I got a professional crew now.
800 lead. It's got 75 watt speakers in it. Go for it.
Jesus. Nice. That combination is pretty interesting. The 200 watts, probably more than you want to actually plug into a 4x12 cabinet, but we didn't crank it. But anyway, these were all vintage amps that I had, and I still have probably about 75% of them. We're not going to pull them all out here. And second of all, as I mentioned in part 1, my friend Dave is ill in bed, and we're going to go down and visit him at some stage, and he wants to be unboxed personally. That's a musician's humor for you. Unbox my life, unbox the videos about the amps, which I can't unbox, while I go and unbox my buddy. Figure that one out.